The international break is upon us again, and for England it's more Nations League action. A double-header against Belgium begins tonight as the Lionesses welcome them to Ashton Gate. In this video we look at who we expect to start in the game, what we want to see from England, and we give a prediction for the game. This is our England versus Belgium preview. Alright, let's get into it then. England are back in Nations League action as they take on Belgium tonight, and that of course means we're back with a preview. And let's start today, Harry, by going back a few months to February, the last international break, where of course England took on Portugal and Spain. What did we learn from that international break?
Yeah, it was a roller coaster of an international break, really, with the disappointing draw at Portugal and the brilliant victory at Spain. But I think overall, what we took from it is that when England are on their day, when they play very, very well, when they maximise the quality of this squad, they can beat anybody. And I think that was a massive reassuring factor for England fans. It's been a year or two where we haven't really seen top performances. We saw some really poor results at the back end of 2024. So to come into 2025, especially after that Portugal draw, there's a lot of people who had a lot of questions, and it felt like England,
especially us.
Yeah, it felt like England shut everyone up in that Spain game, and that was a really positive note to end on. And I think it did just prove once again that when England are on it, they can win trophies. They can be the best nation in the world. So it's they've got to back it up. This is what's key about this international break. They've got to back up that big win against Spain, keep the performances high, and keep the points ticking over, because at the end of the day, yes, it was a big show, but the Nations League is a winnable competition. It is a trophy. There is something to play for. So, Yes, it's not the most wanted or liked international tournament, but it is an international tournament. It's one that Spain won, of course. They won everything over the last couple of years, but it was a big win for England, and overall, it was a really good national break. That Portugal result was disappointing, but I think the response between the Portugal and the Spain games was so large that people kind of forgot about that Portugal draw.
Yeah, I think the Spain result was a very encouraging victory. I think the Portugal game was a really disappointing performance, but as you say, there was that duality. England, top of the group, that leaves them after the first two match days. I think that's an important place to be, and I think England should be going into this double header against Belgium feeling that they can win both games.
Yeah, they should, and it's a weird scenario again. I feel like as a fan of the WSL, I was watching so much of it, I'm getting fed up of watching teams play back to back. It's happened so many times this season, but yeah, it's a very interesting scenario. It's one England will be prepared for. I'm intrigued to see how Serena and how England will manage the minutes, who's going to play where, because usually over the international break, you'd go for your stronger side against the better team, and you might rotate a little bit against the weaker side. When you're playing the same side twice, obviously that doesn't work like that. So very interested to see how Serena's going to mix it up. But overall for England, they will, as you say, fancy themselves to go and win both. 2 wins would put them in a very, very good position at the top of the table. And if Portugal get a result against Spain, or if they both drop points to each other, that would put England in a perfect position, really. So 2 important games now where England can really establish themselves as the Group 3 leaders.
Yeah, and it'd be good to be in a situation in June where we could rest up, because I'd rather us rest up in those Nations League games and then build in the fitness with the pre-tournament friendlies. I think the positioning of those Nations League games is completely stupid.
Yeah.
Because we're going to have to play those at the start of June, and then the Euros kicks off in July. Nobody's going to want to play with any intensity in June. So any sort of competition they've made up, it doesn't matter. Nobody was going to want to risk injury. So no one's going to be playing 100%. Everyone's going to be backing out tackles. No one's interested in competing. So I find the positioning of those games really weird. But that is UEFA and FIFA scheduling it for you in a nutshell. And let's look then at the squad and who we expect to play in this game then. So obviously we know that Fran Kirby will miss this game against Belgium, may be available for the away leg. She's got a slight injury. Same goes for Chloe Kelly. So neither of those involved, but they are both still in the squad. Yeah, let's start with goalkeepers then. The competition is really between Earps and Hampton. Were you surprised to see 4 keepers in the squad there, Harry?
Yes and no. I think that you're not going to take 4 goalkeepers to the international tournament, so
why do it here?
Yeah, why do it here? But it gives an opportunity. I think that Keating has been much better in recent weeks, so she deserves a call up. But Anna Morehouse has done has done very well as well, and has been that third choice while Keating was struggling with her form. So I think it would be unfair to drop her. I can understand why Serena wants to take 4 goalkeepers, get them all in the squad, get them all used to playing with each other. But at the end of the day, we're not going to take 4 goalkeepers to the Euros, so why are we taking 4 goalkeepers now and we're missing out on giving an outfield player an opportunity to impress? So
Yeah.
that one does confuse me, especially when 2 of those goalkeepers aren't going to start.
Yeah, that's the confusing aspect for me as well. I'd rather us give an under-19 an opportunity in the first team or under-23 an opportunity in the first team rather than take a 4th goalkeeper, because we do look quite light in midfield. Kirby's not going to play in the pivot. Toon's not going to play in the pivot. Park's not going to play in the pivot. So if we are, even if we're playing midfield 3, I mean, it's usually a 2 and then an attack midfielder that we see for England, or someone like Clinton plays in the pivot who can push up a bit, but we're not used to seeing 2 attacking midfielders. So I think in that regard, you've got there 3 midfielders who aren't going to play those positions. So you've got 3 to cover 2 spots, which is very intensive on players like Walsh and Clinton, especially when the other option is Maisie Simmons, who hasn't played for England before. So it felt like you could have given another opportunity there. I know there's no Mace. I know there's no Stanway. I know there's no Laura Blinker or Brown. That does make things difficult. Does complicate matters. But there are other midfielders out there they could have gone for. So Southampton, who do you think will play the games? Will it be the same goalkeeper for both? Will we see it split again? How do you think they'll handle that?
Well, I think it's an interesting one. Hampton will definitely play one, if not both, and then you'd expect. I think it could be 1-1 with Hampton playing one, Earps playing one. I think going back to that 4 goalies conversation, the only reason I can kind of justify it is unless Keating's in line to start one of the games, as to why she's been called up. Because if Keating has been called up just to sit on the bench twice, then give her back to the under-23s and put her in goal. Because I mean, I know they've got Kayla Rendell and they've got loads of good goalkeepers, but Keating is the best one out of them. So if Keating isn't playing, why is she here? Which I do think is going to be an interesting question. Does her recent good form mean that potentially she's in for a start? Who knows? It'll be interesting to see. But I think
close to the Euros, though, playing a goalkeeper who we don't realistically expect to play and potentially not even be in the squad.
I think it's a weird one. I think, but yeah, I very much doubt it. I'm just trying to find a reason to explain it. I think Hampton will play one, Ertz will play one.
That's what they did the last
international. If Hampton plays 2, then I think obviously that would. I think the debate's over, but yeah, I think the decision's made. But Hampton playing both would definitely confirm that.
Yeah, I'd agree. I think they'll go 1-1 again though, because we like to be indecisive for as long as possible. Defenders then: Bright Bronze, Carter Charles, Letitia, Morgan, Parker, Turner, Williamson. What do we expect to see this lineup as then?
There's a lot of really good options in there, but again, I wouldn't expect to see Turner. I wouldn't expect to see Parker. I think again, I love Jess Carter, but I don't. I think she's in this squad for her leadership values and what she offers off the pitch, because the stuff that she's offered on the pitch hasn't been great in an England shirt recently. But you'd expect to see Bright, you'd expect to see Williamson, and then Bronze and Charles. But again, that's kind of your back 4. You're struggling in fullback areas again for England.
That'd be my question.
I'm intrigued to see.
Would you not hand an opportunity in this game to Poppy Pattinson? Would you not recall Gabby George again? That for me is a really weird one, because personally I prefer both of those players at left back in this England system than I would Jess Carter and Esme Morgan. So I don't really get that.
Yeah, we are England. Serena's got a final solution, because I don't think England can go to the Euros with one out and out left back and one out and out right back and expect to get away with it, because you won't really.
We don't have a
fullback. Yeah, you get one injury, one of them gets tired. You've got no rotation in that department whatsoever. If we've got Jess Carter coming out left back because Niamh Charles got injured at the Euros, then I think we're in big trouble. So it's a situation that does need to be remedied at some point, and there are options out there, as we've said. Again, obviously, I know obviously Carter's probably the backup left back and the backup right back. Letitia can also play right back, but not in the way that you want an England right back to. Not in the way that Lucy Bronze is.
To be fair, I think Letitia can function similarly to Bronze. I think she's as mobile as Bronze is nowadays. I think her crossing's obviously slightly worse. Her 1v1 defending probably slightly worse because she's not used to covering wide areas. Yeah. But we know she's a brilliant defender. And we know she can play a pass. We know she can carry the ball well. So I don't think that's too bad a fit. I just think it's more of a problem at left back, especially considering we have left backs. Yeah. We don't really have another right back behind Lucy Bronze. I mean, I think Ella Morris is coming through quite nicely, but she's not ready to start for England. But at left back, we've got options.
Yeah.
And I find it weird, therefore, that that there's an insistence on shoehorning in players like Jess Carter and Esme Morgan,
Yeah.
who I don't think are at the level, and I don't think they can play left back in this system. It's a back three, and they're playing on the left side. It's a different story. I think they can both do that role well, but as a left back who is expected to be getting forwards, expected to hold the width, that's what we've seen from England. I find that bizarre.
Yeah, I mean, Esme Morgan gets called up to every single squad and has barely had a minute in the last 6 months. I find it so bizarre. If you're going to call up a
To be
player...
fair, Washington Spirit have been on break.
Well, yeah, but... No, but for England, she keeps getting put in the squads and is barely playing any minutes. And I don't get that, because either call her up and use her and rotate her in as that left back or wherever you want to play her, or don't call her up at all. I don't get the...
Just this holding on to players.
Yeah, it's bizarre, because it's not even holding on to them and then playing them. It's just keeping them around, which, I get leadership values, they know the squad, but that doesn't mean anything if when they get on the pitch they haven't played with any of those players in a game scenario. So I think it's something, again, that in a couple months I'm hoping we're not going to see.
They must have some sort of like intra-squad table tennis tournament going on, and she keeps progressing, so they've got to keep her in. In terms of, we've spoken about midfield, so we'll skip over that. In terms of attackers, Aggie Beever-Jones, Lauren James, Chloe Kelly, Beth Mead, Nikita Paris and Alessia Russo. How do we expect this to look? Obviously no Chloe Kelly for the first game.
That's a shame, because I think this has been a perfect opportunity for Chloe Kelly.
In good form.
Yeah, been absolutely brilliant for Arsenal in the last couple of weeks. 3 assists in her last 2. Finally, this England, I think it's fair to say, this is the first time this season that Chloe Kelly has got into an England squad, and it's merited. And credit to her, because, again, a lot of people said she shouldn't be in the previous squads, but she's worked hard, she's got that arc.
And that they were right.
Yeah, they were right. Yeah, that's clear to say, that she shouldn't have been in the earlier squads. But this squad, Chloe Kelly, deservedly in it. Of course, she goes to picks up a knock. Just it was a funny game sometimes. But I think Russo's obviously nailed on, which I think is a shame for Aggie Beever-Jones, because she's been in brilliant form recently. I think Beever-Jones had a very underrated season
I think
at Chelsea.
Aggie deserves an opportunity.
I
think if we're comfortable first game, I think Russo definitely starts the first game.
Yeah.
If he looks comfortable, if we're playing well, give Aggie Beever-Jones the start in the second game.
Yeah, and if you're Renee Slagers, you're on the phone to Serena Wiegman saying, do not play Alessia Russo more than 90 minutes, please.
Does it look like Lauren James is going to play 180 minutes again?
Potentially.
Well, because I look at this squad and there's not a single other left winger.
Yeah, that is a difficult
you
one.
can shoehorn someone like Mead or Paris or Beever-Jones in there, you could put Park there, but they're all right wingers or strikers or attack midfielders. None of them are natural left wingers. So, I mean, I know obviously Lauren Hemp will be back by the time we get to the Euros, but there is no other option really.
Yeah, and I think the impact that Lauren James has for England is incredible. But again, Chelsea and Bonpastor won't want Lauren James playing 180 minutes. I think there'll be rotation. I don't want to see
any Chelsea players on the pitch.
I think there'll be rotation. I think that, like as you say, England have got a lot of players that play on the right, that play through the middle, that can do a job on the left. Yeah. So I think we'll see that.
Chloe Kelly can play the second game on the left, to be fair, but I think she's less dangerous on that left-hand side.
Yeah, because holding that on the right-hand side, we're on our right foot, crossing those balls in, has looked deadly for Arsenal. So, yeah, I think it's a good mix. I hope Paris gets some more minutes, because I think that when she came on against Spain, she was absolutely brilliant and played so well.
But we've only seen Paris through the middle, so does that imply that she's England's second choice striker now over Aggie?
Potentially so, because I think the thing with Aggie is that she can play anywhere across the front three, and that massively helps her. So you kind of, for me, it feels like you've got Russo as your starter, you've got Paris as your bench option, and then you kind of have Beever-Jones, who can just come in and do Beever-Jones is a very good player, because she can do a 7 out of 10 on the left and the right. Obviously, she can have a 10 out of 10 game leading the line, but she can do a very, very good job anywhere across the front.
I think she's a very good player, but my question comes when Lauren Hemp comes back into this squad and it has to come down to 23, is it Aggie or Paris who gets the call?
That's a difficult question because I can't.
We've not seen Beever-Jones play for England. Paris was preferred to come off the bench in both of the fixtures in the last international break. We didn't see Beever-Jones get minutes. If we don't see Aggie involved in these 2 games, does that sort of show where Wiegman's thinking's at?
Potentially. I think Beever-Jones' recent form could shuffle that, and it depends what happens at the end of the season. But, Aggie Beever-Jones is on 8 goals in the WSL this season. She's up there 4th, 5th in that Golden Boot race, tucked up behind Elizabeth Turland and with Beth England. That's the kind of season she's having. So I think that it's quite harsh that she hasn't really got any minutes for England. So hopefully we'll see something. As you say, this is the perfect opportunity because you're playing the same opposition. And let's be honest, no offence to Belgium, but England should be winning both games. It's a really good opportunity to cycle through the whole squad here for Wiegman and just give everyone some minutes. I think Beth Mead's another one who hopefully we can see her put in a good performance in an England shirt. She had a very, very good game on Mother's Day against Crystal Palace. Hopefully, I think that's the level we're used to seeing from Beth Mead. Scoring doubles in games, have 2 goals, 1 assist or something like that. Absolutely brilliant. We need to see that level more consistently from Mead, and hopefully an England shirt.
Yeah, definitely. Should be interesting then to see how England get on against Belgium. In terms of how Belgium are gonna look, they've used a 4-3-3 in both of their games so far. Do you think they'll stick with that, or could we see a bit more of a defensive shape? Because the attacking shape worked against Spain. They were 2-0 up in that game, but they just couldn't hold on, and they conceded 2 after 90 minutes. They conceded the first and the 77th to go 2. They were then 2-1 up, and then conceded 2 after 90 minutes.
Terrible. It's terrible. But yeah, I think that Belgium, they'll be very, very frustrated. They'll take the positives, though, from their first 2 games. As you say, they should have beaten Spain. How they threw that game away to not even come away with a point was shambolic.
Yeah, they should have had 3.
Yeah, the slim loss to Portugal was a very, very close game. And as we've seen, Portugal can be a very, very good side on their day. So there were positives for Belgium from that first couple games of the Nations League. As you say, I think that when they come forwards, they look pretty decent and they can cause some problems. And England have got to be wary of that. Yeah. But as we've seen with Belgium, if they are going to play as kind of not aggressive, but it was for a weaker side against a stronger side, it was quite aggressive from Belgium against Spain. If they play like that against England, yes, Belgium might cause problems in attacking areas, but England will know that they can have a right go at them defensively. So I'm very intrigued to see if Belgium go for the game again. It's going to be an interesting contest, but England will look to try and just tear them apart when the Lionesses win the ball back. If Belgium sit deep, it'll be another test of can England break down a low block? Yeah. Can England get past a team that like to sit deep and will just defend that penalty area?
Yeah, these are really important games for Belgium because they could easily go into the junior internationals with no prospect of staying in the A League, or whatever it's called. So I love the Nations League. It's a great competition.
My favourite.
But yeah, obviously it does hold importance regarding the Olympics qualifier, which would be nice for England to get back there, even if it's not a tournament we massively care about. It's still important in the women's game.
Yeah.
But yeah, all eyes on the Euros this summer, really. These are the precursors to the event. Should be a good summer. That, though, does round up our preview. Oh, well, actually, before we get into some predictions, Harry.
Predictions, yes.
You give a loose prediction, because obviously you'll be covering the game live tonight. I might be there, I might not. We don't know. I'll definitely be here Tuesday, though. For tonight, though, loose prediction, Harry.
I think England will win it. I think you'll be pretty comfortable, more comfortable than next week because England being at home, being at Ashton Gate, lovely place to be.
It doesn't really feel like home, does it? It's not Wembley, but it's still on English soil.
It's still English soil, and obviously I like the fact they split the games between some in the north, some in the south, so fans up north can watch some of the games. But
I just wish we had a Wembley of the north.
Yeah,
if only Sir Jim Ratcliffe was building one.
Yeah, get on with it, Sir Jim. But yeah, I think that England, it should be a pretty convincing win. I hopefully take momentum from the most recent international break and just keep the goals flowing, keep the high standard. And I think every win that England have now is going to get us more and more excited for the Euros. So just keep the wins coming, keep that momentum building. Going to the Euros on a 5-6 match unbeaten streak, and suddenly things look really, really strong. So it starts here. It started in February. Got to keep that preparation going.
I like how you address the Manchester United owner there as Sir Jim.
Yes.
Get on with it, Sir Jim. Like on a first name basis. In terms of predictions, I think England will win comfortably. I'd be looking at 3-4 now. I think would be an acceptable scoreline. I want to see a convincing performance from England. That's the important thing over the result. It's that performance. How do we demonstrate that we are a really strong side and a side that should be looking at this summer as one of the favourites?
Yeah.
That's what we need to demonstrate. I think we demonstrated against Spain that we can compete against the top sides, but we showed against Portugal that that we're not infallible, and I think there will be a worry there. So I want to see a better performance from England, and hopefully that is reflected in a really positive result. But I'm confident. I think England looked really good in the last international break in the Spain game. Portugal game was frustrating. I think this one, 2 games against Belgium, an opposition we should be comfortable against. I think that sets us up really nicely to go and get some good results. So, I'm confident England will win comfortably. Should be a very interesting game. That, though, does round up today's preview. Do get involved in the comments down below and give us your thoughts heading into this one. The link to go and watch the game with us, with the watch along, will be on stream now. So you can go ahead and click that. Set a reminder if it's early in the day or if it's late. Just go and wait, because we won't be long. Other than that, that is everything. Thank you guys very, very much for watching, and we'll see you next time.
See ya.